Good evening, everyone. We're back here as every Tuesday. One announcement: next Tuesday, the lecture will be not here, will be not far away from here. There is an event for Syrian yeshiva of Rabbi Masalton, so they invited me to be the guest speaker, and it fell on Tuesday. But everyone is welcome. The address will be published on my website, divineinformation.com, on events. You always, whenever you want to see when I speak, you go on events, you click, and it shows you all the calendars. It will be in Flatbush, a few blocks away from here. So it won't make a difference. It will be 8:30, same time, like here. Bezrat Hashem, we continue there. We started before Pesach a series that it's already becoming very, very popular. How do I know? Like, based on the comments. The more comments I get, then I realize that people like it. And it's called the most frequent questions that people ask a lot. Everybody asks those questions. And if you remember the last lecture here, we spoke about finding your soulmate. Things that are involved with shidduchim. This applies not only to single people, it applies also to married people that knows what to look for, what to ask for the children, for their brothers, if they want to make a match. Those things actually apply in our life almost every day. I give you one example. Yesterday I finished my lecture in Queens with a question. As an Orthodox Jew that observed the mitzvot of the Torah, does he have permission to make a match between two secular Jews, boy and a girl, that are not keeping mitzvot? He wants to put them together, that they should get married for serious reason. So why there is such a question? Technically you should say, why not? Well, two Jews wants to get married, mitzvah to put them together. The fact that there is a question about it teaching us that there is a potential problem here. Who can tell me what's the problem that can be?
The children. They're not going to have.
The problem is that today...
She said the children, which means a problem that will be maybe 10 years later, after the children will be born, and then when they grow up and they're supposed to go to yeshiva, they'll send them to public school. Is because something that we do today eventually will have such an impact. Is that a reason not to do it? That's the question. You have a very good point, yes?
No, I think that the other reason is just because today this religious Jew is marrying secular people, and tomorrow he's going to start marrying the religious to secular people. It's just the beginning. That's why maybe it's not recommended for him to do it.
I hear you. Go ahead. Oh. So this is one of the main problems, that you know that by putting them together, they won't keep the laws of impurity. Taharat mishpacha, the laws of nida. Almost all secular people, there is some exception to the rule, but almost all secular people not only don't keep it, they're not even aware that there is such a thing. Mikveh, this, that, waiting 7 days, they never heard of it. Therefore, by putting them together, every time they'll make sins, which is severe sins, it's called isurei karet, then you actually became a part of the sin. What is it like? If a Jewish person has money, and another Jew does not have money, and the poor wants to get a loan from the rich, and the rich only gives his money by charging interest, and you know both of them, and you're an Orthodox Jew, and you want to put the rich and the poor together, that the poor will take a loan and pay interest to the rich. Even if it's not such a high interest, 5% a year, whatever, something that even banks charge more, whatever. The question is something like this allowed? The answer is no. Not only that it's not allowed, if you put them together, you actually have a very serious sin. The borrower, the lender, the broker, and the witness, that without all four the deal could not happen, all of them are guilty. Maybe some more, some less, but all of them are guilty from the Torah. So now the broker say, wait a minute, the poor person didn't have what to eat. He needed to borrow money. I did him a favor. I took him to my uncle, he's a wealthy guy. give him a loan. What can I do? My uncle charge interest. Is that a sin? For me, the answer is yes. Can we apply the same rule into matching two secular Jews and say, no, if they're going to make sins, it's become our guilt? No. What do you think in a case like this?
Absolutely different stories. Two different stories. Giving the loans with the interest prohibited by Torah, directly from the written Torah. So this obvious sin. But marrying the circular Jew, they will get married anyway. So what is better, not to get them married or marrying him?
Very
so
good.
You know what takes
now you're going to the right direction. This is the opinion of the rabbis who say that it's permitted. They say, with or without us, they're going to get married eventually, and they continue to do this. And if they're not married, they're still making those sins. With or without. Here, the opposite. Here, at least they'll be together, they'll make less sins. Right now, when they're not married, who knows how many sins they do? There's a possibility they do even more sins. Plus, when I put them together, I actually tell them to make sins? No? What happens if tomorrow they rob a bank together? Is also my problem? So the answer is it's not so simple. This is one of the questions that some say is allowed, some say it's not allowed. Yes?
You have a famous story, Rabbi, with Chazon Ish.
That he said to keep the guy in a prison.
Yes.
Yes. The Chazon Ish, they came to him and said, Rabbi, there's a secular Jew in jail, and we need to get X amount of money to redeem him. It's called Pidyon Shvuim. Everybody knows in Judaism, mitzvat Pidyon Shvuim, redeeming the prisoner from the jail or from the hand of the Goyim, is a very, very big mitzvah. It's so big that if the Jews don't have the money, they have permission to sell their Sefer Torah from the shul. The only Sefer Torah in town, they are able to sell it. They're not allowed to sell Sefer Torah. But for this exception to the rule to release a Jew from prison or from the hand of the Goyim, you know, you're allowed to sell your only Sefer Torah to do this mitzvah. So they came to the Chazon Ish. They said to him, it wasn't involved with the Sefer Torah. They had the money. They said, we're raising the money, we want to release this Jew, what should we do? So the Chazon Ish told them, leave him in jail for his own good. Why? He was a married secular guy. His wife doesn't go to the mikveh. He's already in jail for, I don't know, a month, whatever, and he's supposed to be there until his trial. If you don't take him out, he'll be in jail another 2-3 months until the trial begins. So the question is, if you take him out, he goes back to his wife, and they be intimately together, and every day or 2 or 5, whatever, they make a sin. Eventually, until the time, they will make both of them about 10 or 20 sins from the Torah, which the punishment for that is Isur Karet. There are 36 restrictions in the Torah that are falling in the worst category of all the sins in the Torah. From 365 sins that are in the Torah, 365 restrictions, I should say, 36 of them are extra critical. This is where the Torah says, "V'nichreta nefesh ha'im Yisrael." Then Hashem said that He's cutting that soul out of His nation. And one of them is what? One is this husband together with his wife without mikveh, without keeping the law of purity. That's why the Chazon Ish, in that case, you say it's better for him, if you really love this Jew, to convince him to stay in jail, to keep him in jail. I don't have to convince him. However, what happens if you come to this Jew and say, listen, I'm going to raise the money to get you out of here if you give me your word that when you come out of here, you won't touch your wife without the mikveh. After she gets clean, she has to go to the mikveh, and only you keep it like the Torah requires. I'm not telling you anything else. I don't tell you keep this, keep that, keep this. No. That particular one, I want you to promise me. So you should ask why you don't tell him also I want you to keep Shabbat. Or I want you to eat kosher. Why? Because those sins, no, those sins he does even when he's in jail. When he's in jail, he's also Mechalel Shabbat. He doesn't care, watch television, he read toilet paper, whatever. If he can smoke, he smoke. If they give him a permission to call, he will use the phone. So in jail, he doesn't keep Shabbat. So with or without me, he's violating Shabbat. Whether I take him out, whether or not, nothing is going to change. And now about the kosher food, in jail they give him non-kosher, he doesn't care, he eats. So nothing is going to change. But Taharat Mishpacha in jail, he is not violating. If I get him out, I'll make him violate the rule. you want me to get you out, you got to go by my rules, which is actually the Torah rules.
Did he refuse?
If he agree, now there is another question. Can you rely on the word of a secular person that doesn't keep mitzvot and has all the reasons in the world to say yeah, that you get him out of there? The answer is the chances that he will say the truth is not so big. Why? He doesn't believe in it. Mikveh, taharat mishpacha. He will say anything you want just to get out. The problem is that that's already not my problem. If he told me and he promised that he's going to keep the law, that saves me from a sin from the Torah. Which sin? Mesayea ledvar avera. But actually it's not a sin from the Torah, it's Isur de Rabbanan. There are two similar sins in Judaism. One, it's called Lifnei Iver lo titen michshol. Don't set a trap in front of a blind person. The expression means don't put something in front of a Jew who would increase his chance to sin. If a person is eating too much and he cannot control his desire for food, don't put a steak that is not kosher next to him, because for sure he'll eat it. Why are you putting it over there? So you can answer, I didn't tell him to eat. I gave it to the goyim there. Why the Jew ate with them? The answer is, you know his weakness. You know he's a heavy person, whatever he sees, he wants to eat. So you should have not put it in front of him. That's an example of Lifnei Iver lo titen michshol. Or if you know, there is a person that is a professional thief. Everything he sees, he likes to steal. You don't leave cash on the table and leave the room. Why? What's the chances the cash would be there? Negative 100%. That's the chance, right? So now you say, well, it's my fault that he stole the money? The answer, yes. It's partially your fault. Why it's partially your fault? Because you put the test in front of him. Without it, he would not sin. There's a question in Halacha. There's a boss who suspects one of his employees for stealing from him. So he wants to check if it's him. So he has a camera in his office. He wants to call him for a meeting in the room, and he wants to leave the drawer open and put $100 in the drawer. And then he leaves the room. He tells him, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. In the meantime, the camera will catch that person stealing the $100, and then he shows him the video, and they can fire him without being sued. Something like this, is that permitted according to the Torah or no?
Intimidation, not permitted.
Now, most likely this person would steal the money. What is it my problem? I gotta get rid of a thief that steals all my money in my business. Do I have the obligation? Do I have the permission to protect myself from all kinds of crooks? Yes. The problem is that by putting the money, you actually force him to steal, because that's his weakness. He can't
How do you
control.
know it's him?
No, you have a camera. He's the only one in the room.
He's the only, but I'm saying the past themes. It could be someone else, and the fact that you set him up right then and there, then he's the first on this.
You suspect. You suspect him. You suspect him. That's why you're calling him to the meeting. You're right. It's still not a solid proof, but it's enough to get rid of him. So now you fire him. If a week or two after you fire him, money is still disappearing, it probably wasn't him. So you call him back. You tell him, hey, Itzik, you get your job back. Plus, here is an extra $500. I'm very sorry for suspecting you. Forgive me. You give him a hug. He kisses your hand. He's happy to get his job back. Everyone is happy. The problem is, if the theft stopped, then you know, you fire the right person. The answer is you're not allowed to put it. Why? Once he steal it, he violate the rules of the Torah. But you violating also a rule from the Torah, Lifnei Iver lo titen michshol. So the only way to do it is to call two people from the company that you trust, and you tell them, I'm making this money hefker, but not to both of you. You're not allowed to take it. But for the rest of the world, this money, it's hefker. Hefker means like garbage. I throw it away. Everyone can take it. Speaking about hefker, there was one case in America of a Jew who had old records of all kinds of classical music. He did not really know the value of those records. So now when they came from CDs, you know, they changed the old records. So he had those records, they catch a lot of space. So he wanted to throw them out. So he collected all these old records and he put them by the garbage. Religious guy. His neighbor, which is also a religious guy, one day walks in the street and he see by the garbage of his friend, he see a lot of records. He said, these records has to be worth something. He took all of them and he took them into the house. After a month, he went to the insurance adjuster to evaluate the records. It turns that it's worth millions of dollars. True story. It's worth millions. How did the person who threw the records found out that his neighbor made millions from his records? The kids. You know how the kids talk? His kid told the other kid, my father found records in a garbage. He sold it and we became very rich. We're moving, we're building a big house soon. So he came to say to his mother, and the father is hearing that records, my neighbor, has to be mine. So he came to him and said, hey, did you take the records from my garbage? He said to him, yes. Who gave you permission to take it from the garbage? He said, what do you mean? Garbage is public property. Everyone can take. There's no privacy once you put it in the garbage. This is the law of the Torah, and this is the law of New York. The law of the Goyim is also like this. No contradiction in this case. But he decided to take him to Beit Din anyway. They ended up in Jewish court, and I want to give you one guess. What was the verdict of the Dayanim according to the Torah in a case like that?
It's like a lost time.
What's the possibilities? One, he has to give him all the money he made. Second, he got all the money and it's too bad. Next time don't throw the record. Third option, do half and half.
No, return all the money.
Why return the money?
Because he doesn't know the value of it.
It's a partnership deal happening.
Return all the money.
He's a moron, he should have done research.
No?
The answer is he had to give him back all the money. Why?
Why? Because he
Because
knew
the guy knew,
when he
the guy who
picked
took
up
it,
his
he knew
garbage,
that it's worth
he
something.
exactly knew who it belongs to. He knew exactly that it's valuable thing, and he could absolutely know at the time he took it that he's taking very valuable property and he's gonna make money on that.
That's not the problem. If that was the reason, he wouldn't get his money back. You gave the right answer, but not the right reason. The right reason is because there is a rule in the Torah. If a person is dumb, a fool, ignorant, you're not allowed to take advantage on his ignorance. If you come to an old man that is he came to Israel from Syria, and he doesn't know anything because his children give him money, and he lives like 50 years ago, like the way he was in Damascus or Haleb. He doesn't know about money, like Israeli money. That's how my grandmother used to be. I used to come to visit her on Fridays. She used to give me money that wasn't even enough to pay for the bus. She thought she's buying me a house. Buy yourself this, buy yourself this. And I used to say, yeah, of course, I'll buy this, I'll buy that. She had no idea about money. Why? The brothers and the sister would take care of the bills, of the telephone bill. She didn't know anything. This is how the way they grew. They didn't know how to read, to write. The way they grew in those days, 90 years ago, this is the way it was. So now, if somebody comes and the old men say, here, you can take it. They give me $5, you can take it. And it's worth $500, you're not allowed to take advantage on him. If it's up to 16% different from the market value, that's fine. It's not robbing him. But if he gives you something worth fortune, or he wants to sell his house for worth $1 million, and he say, give me 50,000, you get the house, you're not allowed to take advantage on him. If he takes you to Beit Din, you're going to have to give him back the money. So now here is the point here. The point here, that when you mafkir something, when you do hefker, and you can prove that you had no idea about the value of that something, this is hefker beta'ut. Just like there is mekach ta'ut, when you buy something, you think you're buying A, but you're actually buying B, and you prove that the owner of the store knew that you're making a mistake and still took your money, he has to give you back your money. It's called mekach ta'ut. Same thing in shidduchim, when you get married. This is what we started our series with, and that's where we're going to continue from.
Rabbi, but how the records were thrown out into the garbage?
He thought the records worthless. He didn't know. If he knew, obviously, they're worth millions, would he throw it to the street? Once he threw it to the street, you had an obligation to call him and say, hey, Reuven, you threw fortune to the street. This is called lo ta'amod al dam re'echa. When you see the blood of your friend is spilling, and you have a way to stop it, you have an obligation to do it.
But
You cannot say, I'm busy now.
That's exactly what I said. He knew it at the time, neighbor, when he was picking it up, he knew it, that obviously it's worth a lot of money, and people threw it out by mistake. But he guessed, he knew it at that time, that probably it's a lot of money. So that's exactly what I said. He takes somebody's property, using it.
That part is true, but the reason that the Beit Din forced him to pay back is not because he knew or did not know. It's because the one who made the hefker didn't know. That's what the Beit Din decide. If there was a way to prove that he did know, right, then obviously he wouldn't do hefker. Over here, there's no in between. Either you knew or you didn't know. In fact, you put millions of dollars in the garbage, obviously you didn't know. There's no place for mistakes here. Let's move on. So we started to speak about, last thing we spoke about our series, questions and answer. Are we supposed to do tests before we get married? And I say that this question applies more to European Jews, because by the Ashkenazim, there's something that called Dor Yesharim. That before they get married, they get tested for certain genetic disease. If both sides are carrier, it increases the chances very much. Even if one side is a carrier, it's dangerous. But if both has it, then the chances are hundreds of percent higher to have it. The question is, can you say, I trust Hashem, this is the girl they offered me, I'm getting married, whatever happened, it's not in my hand. I trust Hashem that this is my shidduch. What is this now, to get tested? Or the other approach is, what do you mean you trust Hashem? Everything else you check. They're selling you a house, you check. They're selling you a computer, you check. Everything, they sell you a car, you take it to the mechanic. Why you don't say the same thing? They sold me this car. This is what Hashem wants. I don't check it. Whatever happened, happened. So, there's two reasons. Two logical explanations. One is, if Hashem gave me this shidduch, probably that's what he wants. Sick, not sick, it's not my problem. Or, no. Since today, in today's generation, they have equipment that can detect those problems, which we didn't have 50 years ago, but today we do have it. Now, not only you allowed, you must do the test. That's the question. That's where we ended up last time, if you remember, before Pesach. The answer is, it's necessary. You have to do it. If a person is in a level of 100% faith in Hashem, in everything in his life, everything, he doesn't check cars, whatever, someone gives him money, he doesn't even count, puts in his pocket, he believes. He trusts Hashem, he lives with 100% faith. He never worried about finding a shidduch. If he doesn't have a job, he's never worried. Tomorrow his mortgage is due, he's sleeping very well at night. He's in such level of emunah like the Chazon Ish was, then he doesn't have to do any test. Why? He lives with emunah, Hashem knows it. So Hashem adjusts himself to that person. He knows that this person doesn't check anything, Hashem won't give him something if he doesn't want. But since none of us is like this, we're not Chazon Ish, and many other Baalei Emunah, and in everything else we have fear, some more, some less, but we do have fear. We have fear who's going to be our shidduch. We have fear if we're going to have a job next month. We have a fear if we'll be healthy. We have a fear about the situation in our town. We have a fear about taxes. We have a fear about everything. You cannot come to Hashem and say, hey Hashem, I trusted you to give me a kosher wife or a kosher husband. You let me down. So Hashem would say, oh yeah? So why didn't you trust me when it came to your parnasah? Why didn't trust me when it came to your health? Why didn't trust me when it came to this, when it came to that? They give you 500 examples how you didn't sleep at night. Now when it came to the shidduch, you trusted me that she's healthy? That's a lie. That's why, like everything else, whatever can be found before, must be found before. And what I tell you now,
definite, and the future is a possibility. And what will happen to compassion? What will happen to compassion? Without weak people, you don't have strong people. Without sick people, you don't have healthy.
right?
So it's
So
the healthy people that are forced to find out cures, find out, you know.
So what are you suggesting? You're suggesting that even if they know they're sick, they'll get married anyway and give birth to 5 defected kids?
No, but the definite is only now. The future is a possibility. It's not like saying that the definite of the two genes are the dominant. They may be.
Okay,
You know?
you're bringing a very good point, and there's also a very good answer to your point. One person wrote me an email this week. He said in one of your lectures you say that since it's a life risk to live in the territories where the Arabs live, the Palestinians, that's when the Jewish settlers, they, you know, some of them Americans who live in New York and they go and they live in different parts of Israel, Judea, Samaria, some parts that is really attached to the Arabs, that you hear the Arabs speaking right there. There's a fence, and you see the Arab kids and your children right here, and they can take a gun and shoot at you, and they do it all the time. It's not that maybe they will. It happens every month. There is a terrorist attack. This month alone, they shot in few cars. So now I say that the Torah say pikuach nefesh, life risk, postponed all the mitzvot of the Torah with an exception of 3. Therefore, if there is mitzvah to sit in every part of the Holy Land, there is a mitzvah, Yeshuv Eretz Yisrael, it's mitzvah from the Torah. Some say it doesn't apply in our day, but most believe that it applies even today, even though there's no Bet Mikdash, it still applies today for Jews to live in the Holy Land. Therefore, now we have 2 mitzvot of the Torah that contradict each other. One mitzvah to sit in the Holy Land, one mitzvah to protect your life. One cannot be done without the other. One comes on the expense on the other. So which one is more important? To live to risk our life and to live in those territory, or because we have an obligation to protect our life, we're not allowed to live there. So I say pikuach nefesh is more critical than to sit in the Holy Land. So this person who I believe is from Israel, he sent me that email. He say, based on what you say, I'm not even allowed to live in Jerusalem. Because in Jerusalem there's also terrorist attacks in the past. They kill Jews, they blow up some buses there.
It's all about the chances.
Oh, so I told him, when we say there is a risk, obviously to walk in the street in a nice sunny days is also a risk. You always have a risk. I know a guy, he worked in a moving company in the Bronx, Israeli guy. I spoke in his shiva when he died in Queens. He worked in Bronx. He went downstairs to smoke a cigarette, stood on the sidewalk with 2 girls from his company smoking cigarettes, lunch break, and someone lost control in his car and went all the way to the sidewalk and killed him on the spot. When he went down to smoke a cigarette, you ask him, tell me, do you know what life risk you are taking? He will never have an idea what you're talking about, what life risk. I go downstairs, I smoke, and I come right back to work. And that was the last day of his life. And he got killed. So now what are we going to say? Oh, it's his fault that he was standing on a sidewalk. He took a risk? No one would say that. Why? Because there's no risk. Risk exists everywhere. When you go to sleep, you can die. The point is, we are talking natural way or not natural. In a natural way, in Jerusalem, people don't get killed by Arabs. It happens once in a blue moon. In the territories, it's something that is high probability to happen. That's why it's a risk to sleep in a sukkah in a place like this. Why? There's a high risk they come and slaughter you and your children in the middle of the night. Why? It's very easy. All they have to do is to cut the fence and come in, kill you, and run back. They don't have to go all the way to Jerusalem with the police, going from the bus terminal, and everyone looks at them, they see Arabs, they know it's a danger, everyone check them out, and if they have a bag, and if they wear a coat in the time of the summer, so right away they call the police, and the police come and check them out. The Arabs know the risk. That's why they prefer to kill 500 feet from their home and run quickly to hide than to come all the way to Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Therefore, there's nothing to compare. Same thing over here. When there's always a chance that everything will be fine, both of them sick genetically, they got married and the kids are fine. Of course there's a chance. But since it's 70 or 80% chance that the kids will have this problem, then in that case, they're not allowed to get married. Why? Because we go by certainty. It's like chazakah. Same thing in the Torah. Something that repeats 3 times and more automatically become a law. Why? It's certain to happen constantly. If an ox hit the cow with his horns, one time, we can say it's a one-time incident. Second time, one-time incident. 3 times it happened, it's a pattern from now on. From this moment on, this ox must be locked. He cannot be free on the street, in a field. If you put him in a field, you're a criminal according to the Torah. When he hit first and second time, you're not a criminal. You only pay half of the damage. If he did it 3 times, and you left him without guarding him, you become a criminal. You have to pay full price of the damages that he made. This is the law according to the Torah. So now, the next question. I'm dating a girl full of great traits and good personality. Everything is fine, but she refused to cover the head once we get married. Everything else she agreed. She agreed to wear skirts, jackets, everything. She doesn't want to cover the head.
And no wig?
But she will keep Shabbat, she will keep kosher, she'll keep kosher home, she will read Tehillim, she would go to Shiurei Torah. Well, right now she doesn't want to cover the head.
And no wig?
No wig, no nothing. With wig it wouldn't be a question because you have enough big rabbis to count on, if it's a modest wig. But without a wig at all, what do we do in a case like this?
Mazel tov. If she's willing to keep Shabbos, go to Shiur, and why should we take her word of, no, I'm not going to cover my head? Is the word of a person so
we're not here to criticize here.
Oh.
We're only here to say from the religious point of view for the guy. He comes to the rabbi to ask, Rabbi, I date this girl, everything, I like her, I'm attracted to her, she's from a good family, she has great personality, she keep mitzvot, there's only one problem. In Hebrew it's called Iliyah vekotzba. The fat of the animal, there's a part of the animal that is extra delicious, but once a little thorn goes inside, it makes it bad. So it's almost perfect. It's like you're buying a wall unit. The mover will always make at least one scratch when they deliver it. Why? Because Hashem wants to teach us the purpose of life is not to fall in love with material. That's why there's always something to take away the addiction to material, to ruin it. Some people return it back. And the next one they get with 2 scratches. There's always going to be something. Always. Why? This is the way Hashem makes the world. So the answer is, what do you think, Rabbi?
Yes, to marry her.
To marry her, right?
Yeah.
The answer, you don't cancel the shidduch, but you convince her constantly in a nice way until she agrees. Why? If she already keep everything, most likely she will keep that also.
Like, Rabbi, doesn't it depend on the chatan? What if he's a very frum guy?
We're talking for frum guy. Frum guy.
What's he doing with the girl that doesn't want to cover her head? Go for the girl that does cover her head.
You'll be surprised. What? Let me ask you a question. Now, let's say he's a very frum guy, and he takes a fanatic girl, she puts a turban in her head, she makes sure not one hair comes out, but all day she's on the phone speaking Lashon Hara. So who is worse? The girl who doesn't want to cover the head, or the girl that is fanatic when it comes to modesty, but all day Lashon Hara on the phone with her friends?
Don't compare it,
Not
Rabbi.
everybody talks like that.
Lashon Hara, everybody talks. And it makes it right.
Okay, Rabbi, then the question. Okay.
One second.
Diamond necklace, she'll cover the gift.
Rabbi suggesting, buy her a nice diamond bracelet, whatever. Tell her, I'm giving you this, that you agree to cover your head.
It's all waiting for a while.
If you ever have this problem, you send her to me, 15 minutes, she cover the head free, without diamond bracelet.
Give her your seat and she'll cover.
Rabbi, a more serious question.
Yeah.
Okay, in this case we understood. But what if she keep all the mitzvot, but she's saying, okay, I'll keep all the mitzvot, but please don't make me eat kosher. I will cover my head, I will keep Shabbat, I will do everything. Please,
Then-
you eat kosher, I cook for you kosher.
No.
Leave me alone.
That's not possible. Why? It's the same thing if she say, I don't want to keep any modesty, also you cannot marry her. I was specifically saying she keeps dress, everything. One detail in the modesty, it's a problem. This can be fixed. Why? Because the fact that she's already 80-90% modest, only one thing, it's a problem, that shows that she understands the importance of it. So it's a matter of explanation and some patience, and she'll do it. But she doesn't want to eat any kosher. This is the foundation of religion. First of all, you cannot rely on her for cooking. You cannot rely on her to feed the children kosher. And plus, someone who doesn't eat kosher, it's very difficult to make him improve spiritually. Why? The blood that created from the non-kosher food is contaminated blood when it comes to spirituality. And therefore it contaminates the soul. And that's why I gave you an example a few years ago, not here, maybe somewhere else, that when we make seminars, there is a phenomena that always repeats itself. The first day of the seminar, the secular Jews come, especially it applies to Israelis, they begin to argue everything the speaker say, half an hour argument. Who told you that? No, it's not true. Okay, no, now you're arguing and arguing and arguing. The next day, the argument coming down a little bit. Not so much. The third day, this guy with the ponytail and earring over here and 15 tattoos on his shoulder, hugging the rabbi with his beard, the black hat, and they're all dancing. All of a sudden he became Chabadnik. Itzik. The question is, what happened here?
You didn't give him
Wait. So now you say,
have a power to argue anymore.
now you're saying, oh, he came to the lecture. The lectures, Baruch Hashem, are very powerful. So you made him religious. What? No, very good. That could have been true if he was sitting inside the lecture. The problem is that the same phenomena repeats when he did not sit in the classroom even 1 minute. He was in the lobby with his laptop watching the kid while his wife was in. Very common problem. All of a sudden, in the third day of the seminar, he begins to dance. 2 days ago, I wanted to kill you. Yesterday, already allow you to leave. And today became your brother. What happened? The answer is, it takes few hours until the system changed. He came to the seminar, all the blood in his body was created from shrimps, from pork, from dog meat, from donkey meat, from McDonald's, from all the worms he eats 3 times a day in his Caesar salad, etc. Once he's in the seminar, the system starting to change. Now he eats kosher food, and all the bad food that he ate coming out of the body, the blood that was produced from the non-kosher food already gone from the system, and new blood comes in, and it takes about 2 days. After 2 full days, then it's pure kosher blood. If you think I'm exaggerating, I have news for you. Orthodox Jews in Israel, they sign and pay membership to Magen David Adom, to the Israeli Hatzalah, that if one day they need blood transfusion, they'll get it only from a Shomer Shabbos Orthodox Jew, not from a secular Jew. Why? Why do they care? Blood is blood. It will save your life. Of course, if you don't have any blood, you take blood even from Yasser Arafat. What can you do? You want to live. What can you do? You're laughing, no? What happens if a Jew is in a risk and the only blood you can get is from Hamas terrorists?
Take it. I have no choice.
What's the options? 1, you're not allowed to take. Why? And make the Jew like him. Second, if you want, you can take. You don't want, you can also not take. And third option, you must take.
You must take. You must save your Jewish soul. This is obligation by the Torah. And that's the only way.
Pekuach nefesh, you must take. We're talking now, what's better? You have Shomer Shabbat Jew, eating kosher, his blood is according to the Torah. It's like putting the right gasoline in the right car. When we were in the army, we were under the ground by the Israeli Air Force. That's where I was. And we had a tractor that we drove the tractor all the way to the bunkers to bring the big bombs to put them on the F-16. The only problem, the tractor is designed to drive 15 kilometers per hour, which means like running. But since you work 18 hours a day sometimes, they kill you over there. You're like slave. You get up 4 in the morning until 8, 9 o'clock, you're working physical job. No one has mercy there. There is work to do, you work. There's nothing you can do. So now you want to finish the job as fast as possible, that maybe you have half an hour to shoot some balls into the basket or to lay down, you know? So what happened? Now you can finish the job. The only problem is this tractor doesn't want to drive. So what we used to do? We used to take the tractor into next to the F-16 and take gasoline. It's called Delek Siloni. Special 100% pure gasoline, not mixed with anything. In airplanes, you don't put gasoline of cars. You put special gasoline, the planes are flying 1,200 miles an hour. So we put it in the tractor goes 30 kilometers an hour. So the job gets done quick. The only problem, every 4 or 5 months, the engine breaks. And Israelis, they say, what's going on? This place every 4 months, we have to bring a new tractor. They put a detective over there, and I got saved, Baruch Hashem. Somebody got caught. Somebody got caught, sent him to jail 21 days. בתשקוט הארץ 40 שנה. After that, nobody dared to do it. So what? You put the wrong gasoline, it breaks the engine. You put the wrong food in the stomach, it creates bad blood for the brain. The soul is in the brain, my friend. What do you think? That's why people that does not eat kosher, it's almost impossible for them to sit 1 hour in a lecture of Torah. They must move, they must get up, they cannot focus. Why? Give them 2-3 days kosher food and then bring them, see how they behave different. Do the test. Make the experiments. You see right away how now they tolerant, they have more patience, they're listening, they're more into it. It's an amazing thing. The dam, the blood in the Torah, is a very substantial thing. The Torah said, "Lo tochlu et hadam," don't eat the blood of the animals. What? What's the problem? Glad kosher slaughtering. The cow was slaughtered. The cow is perfect. No, so there's some blood. Who cares, ma? The blood makes it more juicy. The Torah said the dam, the first blood, dam atamtzit, the blood that comes from inside the organs, this blood is the nefesh of the animal. You must put lots of salt to get it all out.
Yeah, but
Not allowed to eat it.
you put even so much salt, it's still blood.
No, so that's why I say the first blood who comes out. There's some blood that left later on, it's no problem. That's called dam tamtzit, lo tochlu et adam, ki adam hu nefesh. The blood is the nefesh. Nefesh is something half spiritual, half physical. Soul, it's 100% spiritual. Body is 100% physical. The blood is 50-50. It's, in one hand it's physical, you have material. On the other hand, there's something in the blood, it's hard to understand, that the Torah says a nefesh. This is what connects the soul into the body. And therefore, when the blood spills out of the body, the person died. Person died. It's very interesting. You ask yourself, what's this red liquid doing to the body to decide if the person would live or not? If the blood spills out, all the memory cells get wiped out. What's the connection between blood, some red liquid in the body, to the brain, if the brain would function or not? If a person has shortage, not enough blood, he cannot function. If a person donates blood, he's not allowed to get up right away. He has to lay down 20 minutes. Why? He can die, he can fall and die. We see that the blood is the energy of the person. Anemic people, they're very weak. They cannot function. They have all kinds of problems. Blood is very important. So let's move on. About the age, the right age to get married. The Torah says that when your son is 18 years old, run and find him shidduch. If he's already 20, from now on, becoming too late. Today, does the same ages apply to our generation or no? Can you run and marry your 18 years old boy that still play Game Boys? Sits all day and play Game Boys, and you say, hey, Itzik, now you have to be a head of a household, you have to go to work, to bring parnasa, get up 5 in the morning.
But there are 2-3% of people that are okay.
Maybe Kafkazim and Bukharim, they have some mentality that 18 years old, they're very already mature. The answer is even they are not mature. Today, the right age, it's about 22 and up. Before that, the kids are not mature. However, if the kid has strong desire to make sins, you know, his mind is about girls, he cannot focus, he cannot learn, then you can marry him even 18. As long as he can survive in yeshiva and learn and focus in his learning and it doesn't bother him the Yetzer Hara, there's no rush like it used to be. Even the Litaim, the Litvish, they wait even to 23. There's no rush. But if the kid, you see that it's disturbing him, that he's single and doesn't have a wife, then it comes before Torah. You first have to save him from the sin. Right? The Gemara say, even a bad woman is already a treasure. Why? Dayam shematzilot otanu min hachet. The fact that she saves you from sinning out there already worth fortune. So, but if the kid is involved with Torah, is a serious learner, usually the Torah kills the Yetzer Hara. I had a Baal Tshuva in our yeshiva. There used to be Mr. Bodybuilder. You know, it looks like a real gorilla from the safari. Every muscle in his body, shiny, nice, you know. He was a personal trainer. He was such a serious person in everything he does in his life, even before he became religious, that when he decided he wants to do something, he doesn't do it 99%. Has to be 100%. So he was pretty successful. Of course, one day he found the truth. He came to Monsi to Yeshiva and started to learn Torah. And he was ultra fanatic, addicted to the Torah. No lunch break, no breakfast break, no nothing. Learns non-stop. He doesn't go down to the kitchen, lunch break. Someone brings him a sandwich. He's learning non-stop. Shabbat, in a table while he's eating. Mamash, like a machine. One day he got married to a beautiful woman, righteous, beautiful woman. They have a marriage. One day the wife comes to me. She said to me, can I talk to you? I say, yeah, what's the problem? She said, I have a shlom bayit issue. Issues in a family. I say, cannot be. Tzaddik like this, a real servant of Hashem, shlom bayit. Shlom bayit is people who does not learn Torah usually. Someone is in a Torah, disrespect his wife, not being a good husband. It's very rare. Apparently, I was right. Great gentleman, no problem, doesn't make any problem. Mido, everything fine. There's only one problem. He doesn't want to touch his wife. He cannot be with her. Why? He's so into the Torah. The Torah killed his Yetzer Hara, his desire so much that he doesn't have desire for relationship. I had to give him a whole seminar to make him a little secular. And his marriage got saved. Baruch Hashem. This is to show you the power of the Torah. If you learn serious, even 20 years, even you 40, you can control yourself. The problem is when you walk in the street, you begin to see things, you have magazines, internet, this, news, that, advertisement, Wall Street, 42nd Street. Torah 1 hour Sodom and Gomorrah. 3 hours Torah, San Francisco. 2 hours of Torah, Las Vegas. Then he's 50 years old. Rabbi, how come I did not become a Rosh Yeshiva? Can be Rosh Yeshiva in San Francisco. There's no surprises usually. Huh?
That's where we live. We live in a real world.
No, no.
You're trying to be tzaddik, separating yourself from the
No,
world.
no, no. This is my lecture. In my lecture yesterday, Kedoshim to you, I asked this question. What does Hashem want from us? To lock ourselves in a box, or in a closet, or in a room, and not to walk out and not to see anything, and therefore we'll be righteous, because we have no desires? Or He wants us to live normal, and overcome the test with the help of the Torah. That's my lecture yesterday. It's being posted on the website as we speak. So you go home, you can watch it. Now let's move on. So the ages between 20 and 25 is good for the men. The girls between 18 to 22 is good. More than 22, it's already a little bit over the limit. Of course, there's never a limit. Even in your 50s, it's not, better late than never. But we're asking the ideal ages, with some exception to the rules. Sometimes the girl is ultra mature. Since age 11, she does everything in the house. She has 11 brothers. She cooks, she bakes, she runs, she shops. She's 18 years old, she's like 30. The 30 years old prima donna, she doesn't know how to make omelet. And this little girl, 16 years old, she can cook everything you can think of. It depends how they grew up. We had a neighbor, Hasidish. The girl was 11 years old. Her mother used to go, they had a restaurant, to help the father on Fridays, the busiest day, take out for Shabbat. This girl from Thursday and Friday was the busiest days of the restaurant. This 11 years old girl was raising 12 children, cooking, cleaning. They didn't have money for cleaning lady. Cooking, cleaning, baking, chales, from the door. Everything, from A to Z, making salad, making gefilte fish, all the things ready for Shabbat. How do I know? One time the poor girl, the chalas burned in the house and smoke came out. I ran inside to see what happened. So she forgot, she was busy changing diapers, whatever, and the chalas started to burn. That's when we found out she basically does everything on her own. So you see, she was ready to get married almost then. So it's always, there's an exception to the rule. Usually, you can only find it by Hasidim. You don't find mature people anywhere else. By the Hasidim, they raise them like the way it should have been. Like the Torah, you didn't come to this world for a picnic. You have to contribute. You have to help, you have to clean, you have to participate, and of course, you have to learn, and you have to do all the other things. You have to remember that only in these generations, girls go to yeshiva. In previous generations, women did not get education at all, everywhere in the world. That's why the Gemara said, if you want to get married, you have to check the brothers of the girl. Why? If they're good, marry the girl. What's the connection? I explain. Because the only education girls used to get was from the brothers doing homework in the house, learning Gemara and Halacha. So she has brothers that are into Torah. She hears a lot of Torah. She probably has good quality. But if her brothers play backgammon on the street all day and poker, what kind of girl are you going to get? She doesn't know two halachot. Why? She never heard Torah in her house. Like I say poker, the water went down. Baruch Hashem. So, all right, let's move on.
Watch the water.
Yeah. It's hard to control water, you know. Now, next question. Am I allowed to marry a Karite? Karaites is a tribe among the Jews who exclude the oral Torah from their religion. They only follow the written Torah. In reality, you think to yourself, no, at least they're half religious. No? They believe in half of the Torah, the written. They don't believe in the oral. The answer is someone who does not believe in the oral Torah and doesn't follow it is 0% religious. Zero. He has no religion. Why? You cannot keep one mitzvah from the 613 laws without the oral explanation. Not even one. So there is really no way to be religious without the oral Torah. There's no way. Even if you want. How are you going to make tzitzit? Oral Torah. How you prepare tefillin? Oral Torah. How you write Sefer Torah? Oral Torah. How you slaughter the animal? Oral Torah. How you do Brit Milah? Oral Torah. 100% oral Torah. Not even 1% in a written Torah. Zero. How do you make Brit Milah? Not 1% explained in a written Torah. Nothing. You won't know where to cut. You know what day, night, men, women, by Jew, by a goy, the baby is sick, what tools to use. All oral Torah. And everything else, tefillin. 1,000 steps until you prepare tefillin. Without oral Torah, where does it say how to prepare tefillin? One person made a mix party in a conservative shul in Long Island. And one person called me up, it was Thursday. No, the party was Thursday, and he called me up Wednesday. Can you call this person? He makes inside the shul, guys and girls come for disco. Maybe you convince the guy to stop. So I call up the guy, and I begin to talk to him, and he said, we are not like you. We don't believe in Gemara and things like this, he said to me. So I said to him, what do you mean? I said to him, do you put tefillin every day? He said, of course. So I said to him, can you show me where does it say in the written Torah what tefillin is? He said, what do you mean? Everybody knows what tefillin is. I said, yeah, but where everyone learn what tefillin is? If you don't have the oral Torah, nobody would ever know the word tefillin, what it means, bichlal. Nobody would know there's a black box that made from a cow. Where does it say it in the Torah? How Moshe knew to prepare it? How did he know? One little mistake in it, it's not kosher. 1 year you worked, one tiny mistake you made, it's not kosher. Where is all the instructions? He started to get angry. I told him, you have tzitzit? He said, on Shabbat we put. I say, you have strings on the tzitzit? So of course. So how do you know how to make the nuts? Where does it say in the Torah how to prepare tzitzit? Even these Karaites, they put talit on the wall. They said the Torah says, Uritem otor, you have to see it. So they put it on the wall. The question is, how did they know what to put on the wall? It's only from the oral Torah. So it's really a joke. Mockery business. It's really a joke. I had one time a Karite that I met in one of my trips. A heart of, not gold, honey, but Karite. But once I explained to him that all his education was all nonsense, I brought him to the yeshiva. And one of the best Baalei Tshuva I made in 20 years, this guy. I don't know, like this person has no Yetzer Hara. Perfect human being. Perfect. Humble, shy, manners, volunteer, never make a beep, accept everything with love, lover of Hashem, learn Torah, simple, humble, great husband. Amazing. Oh, now the question is, does he need to convert to Judaism? Rabbi Ovadia Yosef Alav Shalom had dealt with that question, and he made a psak that they are 100% Jewish. They don't need conversion.
Even if they don't believe in the written Torah, they are Jewish. Everybody who born from the Jewish...
No, but the problem with them, the history of them is that they got mixed probably with other people who are not even Jewish. You have to understand, there are Jews from certain countries that you cannot rely on their Judaism. You can't assume that they're Jewish. If an Indian Jew comes to you and says, I'm Jewish, you cannot believe him, because he cannot even prove it to himself. He doesn't know if he's a Jew or not. He must get converted from the doubt. If an Ethiopian Jew comes to you and says, I'm a Jew, you have to convert him from the doubt. That's what they did to all the Ethiopians when they came to Israel. In Israel, the government converted them. Why? Not that all of them for sure non-Jews. They got mixed with the Goyim over the generations. Nobody knows who is what. Same thing Russian Jews. There's no way to know. Not Russian Sephardi, Russian Ashkenazi, Russian Kafkazi, Russian Bukharian. You can know, they kept the tradition. But Russian Ashkenazi for 100, 200 years, they themselves, not one of them until today that I spoke to, was able to tell me who their grandmother is.
I can tell you.
You can. That's why you came to me. Hashem sent you.
Rabbi, the question was, okay, but if by mistake, not by mistake, by the good idea, you convert a Jew. Let's say I'm a Jew, 100% Jew, my whole unit. You said, no. Let me convert you, because maybe you say you're a Jew, but...
From the doubt.
But it's not a sin that you converted a Jew second time. you have questions. I'm not sure if I'm Jewish, but in reality, for Hashem, Hashem knows I'm Jewish.
Yeah.
My mother is Jewish, my grandmother is Jewish, my grandmother is Jewish, all my generations. But you say, okay, maybe you don't know, so we have to convert you.
Right.
Wouldn't it be a sin that you're converting a real Jew?
No, it's not a sin, because it's like the conversion goes on nothing, on empty. The conversion goes on empty. It's like you have a download that you made into your computer. It's already there. Now you're doing a download again. Doesn't need. It's already in a computer. It's working already.
When we're doing the conversion, we're saying we're putting a new soul.
No, there's only one problem it creates. That he made him or her forbidden to a Kohen. That's the only damage that can happen. Which means if you take a girl and you don't know if she's Jewish or not. She came from Ukraine, Russia. Nobody knows who his grandmother is. She doesn't know. She doesn't know. I remember my grandmother used to light candles. That's a proof she's Jewish. You know how many Fatmas light candles? It's not a proof. So, the point is now, once you convert her because of the doubt, now one day she met Itzi Cohen. And she say, Rabbi, here is my fiance, we want you to be Mesader Kiddushin. The rabbi check in Misrad Hadatot in Israel, say, this girl came from Russia, she's a convert. So he comes to her and says, what do you mean? You're not allowed to marry Cohen, you're a convert. She said, no, I'm not a convert, I was a Jew. The rabbis wanted they decided that I have to convert. I knew I was a Jew. I cannot go by what she said. Because there's always a doubt. Maybe she wasn't a Jew. But now she's a Jew for sure. But maybe she's a convert Jew. Convert cannot marry Kohen. Safek d'oraita lechumra. There's a doubt. Every doubt from the Torah, I have to go to the strict side. That's the rule. She cannot marry the Kohen. Something like this happened in Israel. Not with the convert. There's actually, what happened is, there was one Kohen who fell in love with a divorced girl. Girl got divorced. She met him. And now they want to get married in Israel. And they say to them, to the Kohen, you cannot marry a divorced woman. So he said, what? What is this? I cannot marry a divorced woman. He said, you Kohen, you cannot marry divorce. He went to all the rabbis. Nothing can happen. So he went to one of the Gdolei Rabbanim, Rav Eliashiv or Rav Kanievsky, one of Gdolei Ador. And he said to him, it was Rav Eliashiv. Rav Eliashiv told him, to allow you what the Torah forbid, obviously I can't. But I will pray to Hashem from the bottom of my heart every day that Hashem will make it as easy as possible for both of you. Without explaining what it means. Top. Nobody wants to marry them. All of a sudden, this guy is an American guy. His father lives in New York. He gets a phone call. Your father is dying from cancer. He has 2 to 3 days. Come quickly to New York. Right away, he took the first flight. He arrived to the hospital. His father is dying. Another day, maybe he have left. So his father told him, I have something to tell you. I really hope you're never going to be angry at me. I'm so ashamed I never told you before. So he said to him, what is it? So he said to him, I never knew how to tell you that, but you're not my biological son. I adopted you when you were a baby. So this Kohen said, yes! Yes! He runs in the hospital. The father expected him to give him something to bring it on his head. He runs in the hospital and he begins to scream. He just found out he's not a Kohen. He's an adopted kid. He's not originally a Kohen. He can marry the divorced girl. He went back to Israel and they got married.
If Kohen marries the divorced woman, he still continues to be a Jew. He's just losing his Kohen title.
The kids are a problem.
No. Kohen cannot be married to a grusha even if he will not have kids. Even if he's barren, he cannot have kids. Let's see the doctor showing him.
What happened if he marries the divorced woman? He said, okay.
Not allowed. Not allowed to live with her. It's a violation from the Torah.
It's not like he's losing his title. He's not allowed.
No. His kids losing their titles. He is violating the rules of the Torah every second of his life. You understand? Okay, let's move on. So Kah writes, Rav Ovadia Yosef wrote in Yabia Omer Even HaEzer Chelek Chet, page 12, he wrote, if the Karaite stand in front of 3 Orthodox rabbi and say that I'm accepting, it doesn't need conversion, I'm accepting on myself to live like a Jew 100%, then it's no problem. They don't need all the rest, okay? Now, what happened if he wasn't circumcised? So they circumcise him now. If he wasn't circumcised according to the Torah, so the rabbi has a special, like you know, the Talmudic people, they take a drop of blood. So that's instead of circumcision, it's called atafat dam brit. They take a tiny drop of blood, and that's what the Torah say to do for someone who was circumcised but not properly. So now you take blood, it's called blood of the covenant, blood dam brit. They offer me a great guy, but he's deaf, a little bit deaf. He has an earpiece inside, you know. It's scaring me. Should I marry him, or it's considered a defect that I should not get married to him? If he's religious, with good midot, and everything else about him is good, and you like him as a person, as a man, it's not a reason to cancel the shidduch. No one is perfect. This guy is deaf, this guy doesn't see so good. If you look for perfect angels, most likely you will never find them. Are we allowed to go on 2 dates at the same time to compare which one is better? Single girl, they're offering her a guy and another guy, and she doesn't know. She wants to go on a date on Monday with Itzik, and on Wednesday with Reuven, and now, now she goes back again, like she said, 2 or 3 weeks, I'm gonna try 2 or 3 times with each one of them, until one of them I'll drop. Like this I can compare. Can she do it or not? The answer is, this question is depend who you ask. Most rabbi will tell you it's not moral, it's not ethical to do it. But really the question is, there's really no proof why it's not allowed. It's one of these things that when they say, okay, you told me it's not allowed, but can you show me in the Torah where it's not allowed? There's really no answer to it. Besides that, it's not ethical, regardless of religion. It's not ethical. But what if the person is really doing it because he wants to know which one is a better shidduch for the sake of marriage? So I think the answer to that, to the humble opinion of mine, would be to do it only once, not more. One, and second, you don't say no to the first one. You can date the second, and after dating once and once, then from this on you must choose one and only continue with one. Not 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's really not ethical. But once and once, like at least now you know this guy's intelligent, this guy is not, this guy is smart, this guy is not, this guy is healthy, this guy is not. You know to compare. And then after that, most likely you would know which one is better in your eyes. From this moment on, that's it. How many checks you want to do? Once it's enough. Some rabbis would not even agree to that. So if somebody criticizes what I just say, don't send me an email. I'm aware of it. Yes. Huh? Why? She's not going on a date to go watch a movie in Hollywood. She wants to find a husband to establish a kosher home. It's a date, kosher date. What are they doing? Going to eat Chinese? They sit in the lobby of the hotel and they speak about their plans in life. And by the way, they see if they like each other. That's mitzvah from the Torah.
One at a time. She's thinking about the other guy down the road.
No. Not true, not true. And what happened if she broke up with the other guy? You can say the same thing. It's still fresh.
I changed my mind. I'm coming back. Consider all
Someone wants to marry me, but he had a parrot in his house, and I heard it's not good for the shidduch, for shlom bayit. Parrot in a cage.
That's a joke.
That's a joke? A dog is not good to be in a house.
No, dog, I understand. It's a good
So a parrot also, apparently. The answer is nonsense. You can marry him and be a babysitter of his parrot. No problem.
It's a good question.
You know, there's one parrot in Israel that made 2 Jews religious. 2. One time he was stolen No, actually he escaped from the house and someone found him, and instead of looking for the owner, he stole it. And then on Friday in Israel, this secular Jew that took the parrot, he see that the parrot scream, Shabbat Shalom! On Shabbat, the parrot has a biological clock. Every 7 days, all day scream, Shabbat Shalom! So the guy got embarrassed that the animal knows better than him about Shabbat. He ended up coming to seminar of Arachim. It's an organization in Israel. And guess what? The owner of the parrot was Rabbi Yossi Valis, the chief of Arachim. Told me the story face to face in one of our seminars about 10 years ago. Told me, I heard about that story, and I came to him and said, tell me that story about your parrot is true? He told me, not only it's true, since then he made another guy religious. It was Gilgul of a stingy guy who didn't want to give money to Kiruv. Hashem sent them back to scream Shabbat Shalom. Next thing, graphology. I have a great guy or a great girl. Everything is fine. I'm ready to go ahead. But I took his handwriting to a graphologist, and he checked the writing, and he said, he's not a loyal guy. He's too angry, he's too proud, he's lazy, you know, by looking at the handwriting. Is that a reason to cancel the shidduch, or it's nonsense, this graphology?
Last week,
בצדק תשפוט עמיתך. The answer is, graphology is not an exact science. I don't want to say it's nonsense, because there is something in it. But it's definitely not a reason to base any decision in life based on it. Not only that, it's actually violating many rules of the Torah. Why? Because Jew is above the fortune, above the mazal, and can do tshuva. Even if his nature to be angry, he can overcome it. So by looking at his handwriting and criticize him, it's motzi shem ra. It's violating the rules of the Torah. Bat Cohen ve'Israel. Miriam Cohen, her father is Yosef Cohen. Miriam Cohen met a guy, and they want to get married. The Torah says, it's in Shulchan Aruch, it's halacha. It's not recommendation, it's the law. In Shulchan Aruch, Even Ha'ezer Bet, it says like this, Am haaretz lo yisa kohenet. An ignorant Jew should not marry a female kohenet, which means that she comes from a Kohen father. Ve'im nasa en zivugam ole yafe. And if they'll get married, their marriage will not be successful. Question today. A girl that her last name is Cohen, dating a guy, and the guy is not a Talmid Chacham. He knows a little Torah, but nothing special. Should they cancel the shidduch because of that? She didn't know that law. And someone came and told her before the engagement, you know that according to Shulchan Aruch, your marriage will not be successful. Why? Because the guy is not a Talmid Chacham. He doesn't know Torah. He didn't finish any Masechet. Doesn't know Halacha, nothing. The answer is, Rav Ovadia Yosef answered that, Alav Shalom, if he's Yereh Shamayim, he's fearful from God, Vekoveh Aitim, and learn Torah every day, it's just a matter of time until he'll be Talmid Chacham and everything will be fine. Don't cancel the shidduch because of that. But if he's not having those two conditions, don't marry this guy. That applies only to Bat Kohen, regular Jewish girl. If the guy is not Talmid Chacham, she doesn't have limitation. It's not recommended, but it's not a sin. I am a divorced guy. Does I have an obligation to explain to my date why I got divorced, or I can say I don't want to talk about it? Same thing, girl. She's divorced. Why did you get divorced from your husband? I'd rather not talk about it. Or she has an obligation to explain.
Some bittersweet.
Not obligation, but recommend if it's possible to explain.
He has to supply, or she, an objective third party that was involved in a divorce to answer the questions. Rabbi, Dayan, anyone, Rebbetzin. Not to talk about himself. Why? Cannot rely on what he said. What do you think? He's going to tell you that he used to beat up his wife? It's like asking from the crew, would you pay back the loan? Like putting the cheese in front of the cat. Now, is a man must be taller than his wife? Or if she's taller, it's fine? Well, the answer is no difference whatsoever who is taller. I paid a lot of money to a matchmaker. And they promised me that within 3 months I'll be engaged. But I did not even get one offer. When I called to complain, one person called me to say that he's interested to date me. After investigating him, I found out it's fraud. It's a person who is connected to that matchmaker and is pretending to show that they're giving me offer. And I found out that they do the same thing to many girls. This is an actual case in Israel. What should I do? Do I have permission to publish them?
Yes.
In the internet, on the Facebook, and the local community magazine? Or I have to just ask for my money back and goodbye?
Better to do this way. Give them the warning that you will do it. Ask them to stop what they're doing. Return your money and stop doing the same thing. And if they don't stop, then you must publish it to warn the other people from being born again. And this will not be Lashon Hara according to the book you know.
You know, the house in Hakablan 45 in Jerusalem is available for sale. The house of Rav Ovadia Yosef. If you have 10 million shekel, please go. It's really worth 6 million. But because it's the house of Rav Ovadia, there's an offer 10 million. My guess would be that it would end up even more than that. So far they have an offer. You know what it is to live in a house of Rav Ovadia? What a zchut. So now, you almost said the perfect answer. Actually, I like your answer more than the answer of the halacha. Everything is the same, with only one exception. Over here, they didn't say you have to warn them first. But he has a very good point. Before you attack someone and publish him, you have to give him a warning, no?
This is not my idea, Rabbi. I have to say it in public. I had a conversation with a very famous guy one day. His name is Rav Sunitsky.
Yeah.
He's a mathematician, deep religion, very smart guy, knows Judaism from zero to the top. And I asked him this question. He said, be aware that you can be, even you are trying to reach the right goal, it can be Lashon Hara. So you try to give the warning. Don't ruin people's life. Maybe you can just warn them, it will be enough.
Okay, so the answer right now is first to ask your money back, and if they don't give you can take them to Beit Din to get the money back. Second, you have to publish them to save other girls from falling in the same trap. I think the reason you don't give them a warning, because in a case like this, they've already been doing it for years. Someone who does it for years, to give them a warning, it sounds a little bit silly. A girl that is heavy in her weight, I'm frustrated. Every guy who dates me wants only skinny girls. Nobody wants me. What should I do? Answer, they're stupid. You didn't lose them. If they don't take you because of your weight, you better not end up with them.
This is the answer?
Yeah. Find someone normal.
Who gave this answer?
Doesn't matter. If a man wants her only because of her body, it's really not normal. Her body is important, I don't say no, but it's the only reason why you don't take a righteous, nice, pretty girl. Everything else is fine. She's 20 pounds extra. So you run with her on the treadmill.
We're not talking about 20 pounds, Rabbi, according to the...
What do you mean, how can she be pretty if she's fat? In the old days, if a girl wasn't fat, nobody looked at her. It's depend on fashion.
Rabbi, if you lose weight, all guys will like you. That's better advice.
I have a friend He only say, if you find me a shidduch, only 200 pounds and up. So according to this book, he's normal.
What's his weight?
He's tiny like this, skinny, 120 pounds. Tiny like this, skinny like this. Like a stick, like a broom. Then, shh. I don't get married for whatever reason. Is it possible that somebody has his eye on me? Maybe he's angry at me that I didn't marry him. Maybe he cursed me. Maybe they do a witchcraft on me, black magic on me, ayin hara, evil eye. Or is that the reason why I'm not getting married? The answer, total nonsense. Emunah in Hashem, prayers, tears, working on our character, begging Hashem to help, that's it. He has his eye on me. He doesn't like him because I didn't marry him. He is jealous. She's jealous. Ayin hara. If you're going to live according to that, your life will be nightmare. There's no end to this. We have to focus on the main thing, not on superstitious stuff. And the last thing for today, I cannot control myself in dates. I'm a Baal Tshuva, and I cannot control myself. Is it better not to go on dates? Because I may make a sin and maybe touch her hand or something like that? This is an actual question that somebody asked. Is a Baal Tshuva, when he was secular, he used to make a lot of sins. Now, it's very difficult for him. Now he wasn't with a girl for a while. It's very difficult for him to be in this test. So he said, if I'll go to the test, I know I make a sin. So should I not take a date because it's possible that I accidentally will touch or something like that? The answer is you have to date in a public place full of people, like a lobby of a hotel, a place that there's a lot of people, religious people, not secular people. Secular people don't care if you touch their hand. Have to be somebody, right, that everyone would look at you right away. When I go to that hotel, to the lobby, am I obligated to order something to eat or to drink, or I can just sit in the lobby and finish the date? The answer, you must. If not, it's stealing. You're using the property without permission. The property is given to use only with condition to order something to eat or to drink.
But not necessarily. Some hotels don't care.
If that's the case, then you're right.
Why hotel?
There is, I just wonder if you own an hotel and the whole city come to dates in your lobby without ordering anything, how exactly you wouldn't mind?
It's a lobby. People go in and out, in and out.
A girl asked this question, I like a guy. Is that modest to initiate a date with him? Or only a guy can initiate a date with a girl?
No, who can initiate?
How a girl would initiate a date with a guy that she likes? How? Through a middleman. Who did it in the Tanakh? Who did it? One of the wives of King David, no? I have to go, very good. I have to go to Borough Park. I have another lecture. But the rabbi, if the rabbi wouldn't tell the answer, I wouldn't tell you. I would keep you until next Tuesday. The answer is Avigail initiates a date with David HaMelech. She married him eventually. Thank you very much. Now, next week, please remember the shiur will not be here. It will be a few blocks away from here. There is an event of Rabbi Masalton Yeshiva. You know, the Syrians, they have a fundraising for yeshivot. People buy cakes and bakery that they bake. Huh? Bakes in. So it will be, I don't know exactly the address. It's somewhere in one of the big houses around here. Please look at my website, divineinformation.com, on events. Click on events, and it will tell you the address of next Tuesday. Huh?
Right now it's wrong.
Right now it's on because we didn't update it. What does it show for next Tuesday?
It shows here.
It shows here. It will be updated. Thank you very much. We'll see you next Tuesday.